over the past few weeks and months, we have seen that the central government has used various tactics to intimidate the opposition.
Yeah.
The latest being the use slash misuse of the Enforcement Directorate or the Income Tax Department to target opposition leaders such as Arvind Kejriwal to freeze the Congress's bank accounts. In the light of these developments, can we call the forthcoming Lok Sabha election to be a free and fair democratic contest?
See, for a democracy, we ought to be a liberal democracy. That is the not just a democracy, we are a liberal democracy. By liberal democracy, we mean there is equality of humans, and there is an equal treatment of all people as per law. That's what the constitution guarantees. Over the last few years, India has been increasingly becoming an illiberal society. There is no equality of law for all humans as promised by the constitution. And we have seen institutions getting compromised. All institutions, whether that is government, political institutions, government institutions, judiciary, or media. There has been a penetration of all these four arms, prejudices getting built into all these four, and compromises. Hence, institutions are not functioning the way they were meant to. They have made serious efforts to bend all these institutions. So, on the front of elections, yes, frequent elections are happening. There have been change of governments, at least at the state level. To that extent, you may contend that there is electoral democracy. So there is a liberal democracy, which is a society, a law, rule-based, equal society. It is apparent that equality is compromised. So it is becoming an increasingly illiberal society. That's one part. The second part is the electoral democracy. You could still argue that, well, it's an illiberal society, however, it's still a democracy. These two can go together, can go parallelly also. So, just on the electoral democracy also, while there have been elections periodically, but if you see the kind of unequal field that is getting created
Yes.
over the last few years, you may ask, what is the unequal field? 90% of cases filed by ED, CBI, income tax against political figures, 90% of them are targeting opposition leaders.
Yeah.
Secondly, freezing of accounts of Congress party for really frivolous and 25-year-old cases over a matter of few lakhs of rupees. You freeze accounts of a national party. It is only intended to debilitate the strength of Congress party on the eve of election. Number three, while BJP leaders continue to indulge in all forms of corruption, all scales of corruption, you target Congress chief ministers in Chhattisgarh, JMM chief minister in Jharkhand, and AAP chief minister in Delhi, PRS party, TMC, TMK, Communist Party in Kerala. It is witch hunting of the opposition that is happening across the country. Carte blanche clearance for BJP to indulge in any sort of corruption or malpractice, but they are guaranteed protection. Using these institutions, they are poaching opposition leaders into BJP. They are poaching opposition leaders. So all these are in effect. To what extent they will demolish the opposition, we will see. But they are clearly intended to target and weaken the opposition. So now we have moved into a phase where we can't, and also the omissions and commissions related to Election Commission of India, in the manner which commissioners are appointed and a commissioner suddenly resigns, there is no explanation, and in a matter of a day or two, new commissioners are appointed. They do not apply the law equally to everybody. So the second part is that even electoral democracy, it is not an even playing field in India today. So having weakened the idea of a liberal democracy, now BJP is systematically targeting electoral democracy also. So if this continues, we will end up in a situation of superficial electoral democracy like it exists in Russia or a few other countries, and it will not be a meaningful electoral democracy if this continues. So it's definitely an uneven playing field. But I hope that people of this country, I trust, have a deep sense of a deep common sense. They are the ultimate custodians of democracy in this country.
Okay.
It is not people like me, or it is not even the institutions of media or anybody else. It is ultimately custodians are the common people of this country, and that's what Jawaharlal Nehru said, that eternal vigilance is the only guarantor of freedom and democracy. And I hope and I trust that people of this country will deliver and save democracy in this country.
Next question pertains to Karnataka. Over the past four elections, this will be the fifth. Since 2004, voters in Karnataka have been preferring the BJP over the Congress when it comes to Lok Sabha elections. In 2019, this incremental support for the BJP meant that the BJP secured a staggering 51.7% of the vote share and 25 seats in Karnataka. Based on your interaction with voters and intra-party strategizing, how is the Congress going to ensure that this trend is broken?
See, primarily, whatever the efforts of a political party, ultimately it is the will of the people that prevails in an election.
Yes.
And what I observe amongst the people is a certain sense of fatigue with the current central government. I think people have given them 10 years, given them enough opportunity, and they see that the economic conditions of people, common people, have deteriorated. The rich have gotten super rich, whereas the working class is struggling to hold their life together. Job prospects have gone down, unemployment is at a historic high, inequality is at a historic high, as recently a study published by International Labour Organization and also
Oxfam
World
also did it,
Inequality Lab.
Okay.
From all international neutral objective studies, you can see that freedom has gone down in India, democratic backslide is there, economic inequality is at a historic high. One study points that the inequality is worse than during the British Raj, so hence they call it the billionaire Raj. So British Raj is now under BJP replaced by a billionaire Raj. Price rise is at a historic high. Unemployment is at a historic high. People may not speak, but they definitely feel all these factors. They are experiencing them in their day-to-day lives. And I believe they will speak through the elections. So because of these reasons, I sense there is a fatigue factor. There is a unease amongst people with the BJP rule. So this is the biggest factor in the election, because what the political party does is one part, but what is the mood of the people? All these factors together, my assessment is that have given rise to an unease amongst people with the 10-year rule of BJP. In the 10 years, they have only spoken, and delivered only for the rich and not much for the common people. This is, I think, going to be the dominant factor in the elections. This can be supplemented by the omissions and commissions of a political party. For our part, after having come to power in Karnataka, we have delivered on the promises we made to people, particularly the economic promises of assisting people who are struggling to lead their day-to-day lives and supporting those people. We had made 5 promises, and we have delivered on those 5 promises. And so our credibility amongst people is quite high. On one side, you have Congress, which is coming to the aid and assistance of people who are struggling to lead their family lives. And on the other side, you have a government which is catering to the rich and delivered price rise to the common people, unemployment to the common people. So when this is contrasted, I think this will be the dominant factor in this election. I agree with you that last 3-4 elections, by and large, the voters in the state have been consistently giving more and more seats to BJP. But this time, I think having given them enough opportunities, and that our government, state government credibility is quite high with the people. So in combination of these two, we hope to fare far better in this election.
So it's interesting that you sort of discussed the five guarantees. So because my next question is on the five guarantees. The Congress seems to be banking heavily on two issues in Karnataka to attract voters. First is successful implementation of the five guarantees, and second, the injustice in the devolution of funds from the central government. Coming to the implementation of the five guarantees, for which a budgetary allocation of 52,000 crores was made, there is an allegation by the BJP that this has led to a revenue shortfall. Even recently, the leader of opposition also linked it to the inadequate drought relief. How do you respond to this?
See, the central government, through its various mechanisms, meted out severe injustice to Karnataka. The 15th Finance Commission cut Karnataka's share in devolution by 25%. And central government is refusing to extend GST compensation. So together, these two factors make up about, for about 30,000 crores every year impact on Karnataka's finances. Karnataka is the second highest tax-paying state in the country. We, by some rough estimates done by some independent agencies, we contribute enormous sums to the union exchequer. For every rupee we contribute, we get only 12-13 rupees in return. So this is a dismal injustice to the state of Karnataka. And it may be through Finance Commission, it may be through
12-13 years. Around approximately.
Approximately, yes. There have the independent agencies have done an assessment, come to the same conclusion. Government also position is about the same. So about that ballpark figure is where majority of the assessments are, rough estimates. The Finance Commission made some special recommendations for Karnataka, which Government of India has rejected outright.
The special grant, the state
Special
grants
yeah.
for peripheral ring road.
5,495 for the year 2021 and 6,000 crores in the subsequent years. So both central government has not released, and in fact they have taken the position, quote unquote, that Finance Commission will be asked to reconsider their recommendation.
But that's a sum of around 10,000 crores.
11,495.
11,095.
Right. So this is beyond the 25% cut in devolution meted out by the 15th Finance Commission to Karnataka. So it appears that for BJP, they need only the note and the vote of Karnataka, and as if Karnataka has no needs of its own. We are here to pay taxes and vote for BJP. This is the feel, and as if we don't have any needs of our own. That we stand last in the ratio of how much we contribute to the exchequer and how much we get in return. We are at the bottom. So the disparity between how much we contribute and what we get in return is so vast that there can only be one explanation, which is injustice. Now, if the central government may say that it's Finance Commission, this and that, but if the central government is interested in addressing this issue, then solutions will emerge. But every time we raise the issue, they just dismiss the issue. So which shows that they are unwilling to engage with the issue because they are convinced about meting out injustice to Karnataka. A simple age-old practice of giving drought or flood relief to a state. Karnataka submitted its drought memorandum in the month of September, and we should have got our drought relief in the month of November, and we are in the end of March, and still we haven't got drought relief. This is mandated by the Act of Parliament, Disaster Management Act 2005. This is a standard age-old practice. Even such standard age-old practices mandated by law are denied to Karnataka. And as a result, farmers of Karnataka are suffering. So if you look anywhere around, there is injustice meted out to Karnataka, and the moment we raise, central government responds aggressive and negative manner instead of engaging with the states. So if you want the federal unity to be strong, you have to engage with the states. You can't be, it is my way or the highway attitude that the central government takes and outright dismisses every concern of a state government like Karnataka. That cannot be a way to a stronger union. They must sit down, discuss, and find mutually acceptable solutions. The mutually acceptable solution may not be what Karnataka is demanding, but that every party to an issue must be ready for some form of a compromise. But here the union government responds with vitriol to every concern raised by state. And that cannot be, the federal system doesn't work like that. We must work together to find solutions. So this is happening again only because central government is very dismissive of concerns of Karnataka, and hence Karnataka's financial position is under some stress. Not because of anything else.
So, but I haven't been privy to these discussions with representing Karnataka at the 15th Finance Commission. How did Karnataka share fall from 4.7% to 3.7%?
It fell because of BJP's intentional drive to do injustice to Karnataka. I can give you a long, roundabout technical explanation to you. But if people in the position of decision making are fair, arguments will be based on merits. But here there was prejudice, and when person sitting in the chair is prejudiced, what justice can you expect? So Karnataka made its case strongly and convincingly. But since the union government is intent, BJP is intent on meting out injustice to Karnataka, that's why we have suffered a 25% cut during the Finance Commission. There was not a single member in the 15th Finance Commission from the whole of South India. Wow. How do you justify that? Today, top tax-paying states are Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and there is Kerala and Andhra Pradesh. And from all these dynamic states, which are leading in technology, some state is leading in manufacturing, we are attracting the highest foreign investment. There is not a single member from these states in the Finance Commission. How can you expect justice from such a lopsided process? And every time we raise a concern, there is vitriolic dismissal.
This is exactly what the Union Finance Minister recently said. That she tried to counter this by saying that the tax devolution under the BJP government had actually increased. Through the transition to GST, some increase has happened. When the country transitioned to a goods and services taxes regime, so sahajavagi, naturally there has been some increase. That explains it. But you'll have to tell us whether what the finance minister is saying, whether it is accurate, sufficient, or somehow reflects the needs and demands of Karnataka.
I have a lot of respect for Madam Finance Minister, but she is trying to defend the intentional injustice of BJP regime. She is comparing with years where the union budget size was 5 lakh crores with a year where the union budget size is 45 lakh crores. What is the intent of making such comparisons? With every year, the budget size increases by 10%. And she's taking figures from UPA time, which was more than 10 years ago, where the budget started with 5 lakh crores, may have gone up to some 15 lakh crores. And you take that figure and compare. Now, how do I respond to this? This is what I say. Instead of engaging with the issue, you're intentionally obfuscating it, diverting it. This is if you can't convince, confuse. And this is a diversionary tactic. When you're in a position of such authority, you give such lopsided comparisons. Are you really interested in resolving the issue? What is your intention, right? And she's forced to do this on behalf of Government of India. But I'm sure she knows this, that it's an irrelevant comparison. Number two, about GST. Prior to introduction of GST, Karnataka was growing at a rate of 14, 15, 16%. Post introduction of GST, if the same rate had continued, Karnataka would have been getting another 20, 25,000 crores a year as of today. But we are short. Pre-GST growth rate of Karnataka, if you project it to the post-GST regime, we are short by 20, 25,000 crores a year. That is the gap we requested GST Council to compensate. And the GST Council, headed by the Union Finance Minister, is refusing to extend compensation. So again, left to our own devices, we were growing at a much higher rate than the rate we have grown post introduction of GST. So some states may have benefited, but definitely Karnataka has lost a lot of autonomy, taxation matters, and have not gotten much in return for it. It may be benefiting some states. Even in the matter of cess and surcharge, Karnataka pays the highest cess and surcharge, and we don't get money for that from that. So look, no formula may be perfect for all times to come, right? If you notice that formula, while it served well for some time, is actually meting out injustice to somebody at another time, then you must work on correcting it. That is how you take care of everybody. As the head of the family, you must make sure that all members of the family are treated fairly. And that's all Karnataka is asking for. In return, we get, again, vitriol. So this is on matters of, taxes. Now, there is Karnataka's request on many river-related issues. For example, last year, Union Finance Minister in her budget announced 5,000 crores for Upper Bhadra project. Not a single pie of that budgetary announcement has been released to Karnataka. I ask you why? You announced in your budget. Why have you not released 5,000 crores? A single pie of 5,000 crores to Karnataka. Now, what is your explanation for that? What's your defense? Unless you want to do injustice to Karnataka. It's a budgetary announcement of Government of India. How can you not implement your own budget announcement? A promise made to the parliament, which is as strong promise as can be made in this country, remains unimplemented. Not a single pie of that has come. If your intention is not to do injustice to India, why would you not release that money just to Karnataka? We have another issue, Mahadayi, where a simple environmental clearance is required from Government of India. The Supreme Court has passed orders on sharing of Mahadayi waters. The order has been notified. Karnataka has been given clearance by the court to go ahead with the project, drinking water project. For many years, Government of India is sitting on a simple environmental clearance. They are neither turning it down nor accepting our request. Why? Why would you hold up Mahadayi project of Karnataka? So for everything they give, not only evasive, but at that very aggressive responses. So we come to the same conclusion.
You've established your case very well. So what have the 25 MPs who have been elected from Karnataka from the BJP, what are they doing? Are they representing the state's interests or the party's interests, or are they keeping quiet and not engaging with these issues at all?
These, along with BJP has 26 MPs in
Yeah,
Karnataka.
yeah.
Not one of them has spoken on drought relief money not being released to Karnataka, on the financial injustice to Karnataka. Not one has demanded extension of GST compensation. Not one has demanded central government to approve Mekedatu or Mahadai or release a single pie for Upper Bhadra project. So these 26 MPs are elected only to surrender the interest of people of Karnataka to the BJP's national interest. So they have no courage to open their mouth on behalf of Karnataka. So in my view, these 26 MPs are the problem, because injustice is being done by them. Because when something goes wrong, they are morally, legally bound to raise the issues on behalf of the people who elected them. But by supporting the injustice being meted out, they have become part of the problem. Injustice is flowing from these MPs to the people of Karnataka. So justice cannot be delivered without taking these 26 MPs head on and replacing them with somebody who will at least raise the voice, no matter the results. At least somebody who speaks for the people who elected them.
These two issues, this implementation of the five guarantees and the injustice with regard to the devolution of funds, I'm skeptical, and a lot of other people are also skeptical. They're convincing issues, but where the Congress is perhaps failing is that they're not able to build a successful campaign narrative, because perhaps these are not emotional enough.
Yes.
These are not emotive issues. Would you agree with?
No, they are emotional issues, I believe, because see, the guarantees that we are delivering to people are reaching approximately 5 crore people of Karnataka. And they are reaching these people at a time of financial difficulties for these working class families. People are feeling price rise, people are affected by unemployment, people are not seeing their incomes grow. So at a time of financial difficulty, these guarantees are definitely helping them. And when it comes to issues of injustice to Karnataka also, I don't think it's not an emotional issue. I think it is an emotional issue. It is a bread and butter issue for people. So on both fronts, these issues are very much relevant to people of Karnataka. The economic assistance we are providing to working class families and the injustice flowing from Government of India to Karnataka, both are relevant. Perhaps we have, I don't know what to say, we have not adequately articulated these issues and connected them to the people. It can only mean that if it is not caught on, it's because we have not explained it well to people. I cannot accept your proposition that they are not emotional issue. They are not relevant. I feel they are relevant. If they are not caught with the people, then it's only because of our inability to connect these issues with the lives of people. But having said that, I feel that there is a sizable silent section of the people, because in Indian democracy, there is always a silent majority and there is a vocal minority. Dominates the discussion space. The only opportunity available to the silent majority is the electoral process. And I think this election, you will see the silent majority speak. Not everybody, Constitution guarantees equal voice to everybody, but in practice, let us not fool ourselves that there is no equal voice in our society. There are still people with greater space than others. So I think this election, people will speak.